Good morning on this nice Sunday morning. Glad you could join me for breakfast, a little Crispix this morning. My name's Steve Wallace. I'll be talking to you about gifts to students or staff for my EDL 854 school finance course. Just a few things before we get started. A gift is a personal good or service for students or staff purchased with school funds. So, if a medal is purchased to reward a kid for an athletic event, that is considered a gift. As educators, we like to acknowledge and celebrate with students and staff, but it's very important to remember that school funds should have strict guidelines on what's bought for gifts. And over the next couple slides, we'll talk about some specific guidelines that will be helpful in making sure that you're using funds properly and the public doesn't feel as public funds are being misused or used with poor judgment. It should be part of our school culture that we celebrate things with students and staff. It should feel like a small family that wants to celebrate things, like within a staff, if somebody has a baby or gets married or has an unfortunate death in the family, you want to make sure you reach out there. So there's a lot of things as educators that we want to do as principals for the culture of our school, but we have to make sure we're using school funds in a proper way. So this graphic, really sums up student gifts really well. There was kind of two segments to student gifts within our text: Bookkeeping Basics in School, Money Matters, a Handbook for Principals. It was fundraising incentive gifts and student achievement gifts. So we'll start with fundraising incentive gifts. Basically, you're having a fundraiser. If a student hits a certain goal, then they would get a reward out of that. So, for instance, if you are selling cookie dough, and this person has sold their 10 cookie doughs, and now they get a t-shirt for doing that. That money would need to come out of the fundraising profit. That money should not be taken out of any other school funds. So the money that was raised should pay for that t-shirt. And the t-shirt's an example of that. So here in this, students participating in fundraiser meets the criteria. They're going to pay for a ticket to a theme park through the fundraising money, is the example from the textbook. So again, you can reward students for doing a good job helping whatever you're fundraising for, but that money needs to come out of the fundraiser. The other thing that you want to definitely recognize is special achievement gifts for students. Again, the text says for an individual student or student group to honor academic or athletic achievement. This could be paid for out of the general fund. It could be a private donation. Or if it's an athletic event or activity, then it could come out of the athletic fund as well. Now, the gift shouldn't be extravagant. It should be your normal certificate, medal, pretty low-priced items. It shouldn't be a high-priced item when dealing with student gifts coming out of the general fund, athletic fund, or private donation. Moving on to staff gifts. There's three parts to this one. There's all staff gifts, there's fundraising incentives again, and then there's special occasion gifts. So all staff gifts, for all staff members, they would pay for, out of vending profits, a staff fundraiser, PTA, things like that. A school logo t-shirt would be an example. Like this year at our school, we started off the school year where everybody got the same shirt. On Monday at the staff meeting, we actually are all wearing that shirt to take a big staff picture. That is fine as long as it's paid for out of fundraising efforts or money set aside for that specific type of staff giveaway. Then fundraising incentive gifts, same as the student. If staff members are participating in a fundraiser and they meet a certain goal, they can be rewarded, but that reward or gift needs to come out of the fundraising money, just like with the students. And then special occasion gifts. The text calls it a remembrance fund. Every school I've been at has some sort of fund, whether they call it a remembrance fund or not, that they either fundraise for or just ask for donations. Sometimes it's like if you give $25 every Friday, you can wear jeans to the remembrance fund, and that fund is for a gift for a wedding, sending flowers to a funeral, something for a new baby, things like that. But that needs to come out of a staff-ran fund that has a committee that meets once a year, that multiple people deal with receiving the money. Another person buys the gifts. Again, just to have some safeguards in how this money is used. Things to remember. School funds are not your money to loan, borrow, or give away. That's an important thing to not forget. As much as you want to be able to recognize or take care of students and staff, you need to be mindful and follow these guidelines in how you use school funds. Make sure you follow the proper procedures to keep perception of misusing funds away. You don't want the public to think you're using tax money in bad judgment ways. So follow these guidelines. You want to have a school culture that celebrates, rewards students and staffs for different things, but you also want to make sure the money's being used the right way. Thanks for listening to my presentation. Have a great Sunday.